some respect. Yeah, yeah. I think it's time for reality check. Yeah, reality check. Gotta get you back on cold. Reality check. For the young and the old. Reality check. Yeah, yeah, to heal your soul. Reality check. Get ready for the show.
Oh, where you at? Where you at? How you doing there, Eve?
What's up, Dr. Winters?
I,
How goes it?
I don't know. I'm gonna tell you why. This election has done nothing to me. I mean, it ain't done nothing to me because I didn't give a damn. You know.
I'm feeling that energy. Definitely voted for the couch. See
I,
that? That.
that's a beautiful. I love that sticker. You know.
Shout out to all the people who bought the sticker because that's pretty cool. We had it for sale on the website, and people got to say it with their chest. We always get left out when Facebook rolls out their little frames for your profile picture to let everybody know that you voted. And one year I went and just got a sticker because, well, I wanted to participate in the sticker receiving, but when they asked me who I voted for, I didn't really have an answer for them because nobody was on the ballot for me. So
It when I I had seen voting as such a political event that when I when I first um, chose the couch, it was so hard for me. It was hard. I was driving around. I was driving back and forth. I wanted to go in, and I didn't go in. I wanted to go in. I wanted to go in and vote because I mean, I had really got into it. But my baby doll said, "Fuck him, fuck Obama." I said, I mean, you got to vote. She said, and my wife, she didn't really cuss. She cussed cute, so she didn't hardly cuss. Her cuss, she, her cussing was almost as bad as yours, but it wasn't. Maybe it was worse than yours, but she just couldn't make it sound. Love you, big guy. I mean, come on now. Wait a minute, big. Come on, say it with your heart. Okay. Fuck you. No, come on. No. Come on, say it. Give it some feeling. Okay. Fuck you. No. Damn. I mean, hey, I wanted to hear some real stuff. Look at this. You're not a real sister or a brother if you can't say MF. If you can't say that the right way, something wrong with you. You see. But her, maybe because she was just. I always felt she was too cute. So that was a problem. That was a problem. And so the thing is that it's just not apropos. I mean, just like my son he doesn't want me to say PUSSY, but I told him, I said that's the first word I learned how to spell when I went to school. I did. He said, you know any words you can spell? I said, yeah. PUS, not that Clyde, not that Clyde. No. I had to call your parent.
Oh no.
But I didn't have to have a parental conference. But sometimes I think about the when I was in kindergarten. For some reason, I think about that sometimes because it was kind of weird. It was kind of weird because I remember, in a sense, someone had made a mistake, in the closet and stuff. And I remember the teacher had made a big deal of that. And I don't know. It's just that I really thought that was quite quite inappropriate because my mom and dad always taught me, go to that washroom, boy, go to that washroom, you know. But I don't know. But that's how I feel. That's how I feel today. That's how I feel about this whole thing about the election. Is I feel like that somebody went out and messed in the cloakroom, but I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn.
Yeah, I mean that sentiment I've seen. A lot of people. I mean, I'm proud of us this election season. Um, Disappointed in some things that I've seen, but I think overall, either we've kind of removed ourselves from all of it. Like we know both parties aren't messing with us, so I'm gonna just keep doing what I'm doing, or you've been so affected by the Democrats. I can't even call it benign neglect. I feel like they are outright targeting us sometimes. So, some people have really just been fed up with the targeting and the subsequent oppression that they really wanted to make sure that the Democrats don't win anything. And I mean, what did everything go red? I mean, the House, the Senate, a lot of uh, a
They're
lot
still,
of red.
they're still waiting to find out, but I could care less, because like I said, is that I got into the voting game, back in the day, and I felt that we had to do the lesser two evils,
Yeah.
but then at that point when I decided I didn't want to vote, then I said, hell, why vote for evil? Period, because
Exactly.
if we're going to be for real, we may as well keep it real. But then at the same time, it was very scary because see, I had to push myself to go vote, you know, and but I saw my wife. My wife, she had my wife had the strength to say, "I'm not voting," and that's just it. And I always appreciated her because she started to say, "What happened, Clyde?" I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "You used to be such a disciplined man when I met you, very disciplined." I said, "Yes, I was because I was getting ready for the revolution. The revolution never materialized. How you doing, Teresa Miller? The revolution never materialized, and after a while, I lost that discipline. You know, that's how I got fat. I lost that discipline.
I think discipline in another form. And then, they said the revolution wouldn't be televised, but maybe that's because um, their imagination was a little stifled. I think the revolution has been or has materialized on the internet in the form of information wars. You've got fake news and real news, who knows which one it is, and then people having commentary about the fake news and the real news. And I
I,
saw some data that said that most people are getting their news not from the mainstream media outlets anymore. They're going to YouTube, to podcasters to get the breakdown, or at least what they feel is the most relevant information to that audience. And that's very strange to me. But I've also seen different news outlets on both sides of the aisle having almost verbatim talking points. I mean, the same exact script. And I don't know if that's a coincidence at all.
I think that's one of the things about social media. What social media did to us. What social media did to us is that social media they began in a sense. You had people who was having commentary about everything, geopolitical, maybe a race, things like that, sexuality. You had all these different people on the YouTube, and then what we started seeing is that many other people in the old media, they were saying the same thing. We started noticing that CBS, ABC, NBC, you know, CNN, these people had the same agenda. It was like what Malcolm X told us back in the day. And Malcolm X said back in the day, said that there's some people in New York, they decide on what you're going to see, and then and what you're going to hear. And so when Malcolm said that in the '60s, you know, we take it for granted because we didn't have an alternative medium. Medium. We didn't have an alternative medium, and because we didn't have an alternative medium, we didn't really see what was really going on. You know, we didn't really see how we were being programmed. You know,
Right.
and it's this whole idea of this matrix that we're in. You know, and this programming and it's really repetitive. You know, I mean, as we began to see that if you hear something a certain number of times, I think it's 70 times. If you hear something 70 times, it creates in a sense, an image, a synapses in your brain, and that this synapses in your brain, it has a firmness. See, everything you've ever experienced, there's a synapses in your brain that has captured it, and it's through practice and through repetition that particular thought, that synapses, grows and expands. You see, but you never forget anything. That's why when people can put you under hypnosis, they can bring out things that maybe happened even as early as before you left the womb.
Mm.
And things like that, because there's always that image. There's always, in a sense, that synapses, that nodule, that memory source. And see, that's why I didn't know this when I was younger, but I felt that as a parent when I was young, that I wanted to create memories for my children. You know, because even though I didn't have a bad life, I had a mother, father, had what, 8, 9 brothers and sisters, and so then we lived in what, a 4 bedroom apartment, 3 bedroom apartment, and then as you get older, people move out. So even though it's 10 of you, as people, like some will go to the military, like your older brother, whatever, the sisters move out. So after a while, you say, "Damn, how did you?" When you grow up, you say, How did 10 of us grow up?
In this house.
How did we grow up in that apartment? There's only 3 bedrooms, But then everybody had bunk beds and stuff like that.
Yeah, and you're a lot smaller, you know.
Yeah.
I was talking with one of the minis about that earlier, because they think we have a very large house, and I'm not saying it's not as big as they think it is, but I mean it's not a mansion by any means, but they're so little that these cathedral type ceilings that we have, they're like, whoa, it's so big in here to eat. And I, no, no,
That's
no.
why you love those old apartments. Those old apartments was cool. They were,
Made you feel like you were in like a royal structure.
yeah, you know.
I like the arches and the construction and the architecture of all that. But um now I was talking to them about just our understanding of space and time. And I think what you said is a really good point. When you think back about it, when everybody's all big, how did we fit? How did it happen? How did we get it done? And you get it done. The way I've seen 15 people pile out of a Honda Civic, um, like it was a clown car, or I've seen more people than 10 people in an apartment, and I don't think these apartments had 3 bedrooms. And they're not the same family as much as they might all have the same last name. We're in some very strange times. But you titled yours, "Where do we go from here?" That's a good question. The way I've seen, at first I thought they were joking. Dr. Winters, I saw videos of people crashing out or having these very explosive, upset moments about the election results because crying. I saw people crying. And I also heard them say that they were very afraid, and maybe that's why they're crying. But I don't know, like crying because your person didn't win the election. I don't know. That seems a little much, but maybe some people really have nothing left to do with themselves. I don't know. I can't understand crying unless you're an illegal, especially if you're an illegal who murdered an American citizen. You might need to cry.
I don't know. I don't really understand it anyway because see, to me, I've voted, but I've just voted, for the lesser two evils when I was voting. It was always the lesser two evils, and both of them would get in and they wouldn't give us anything. And
Right, right.
but it was hard for me at first. Like I said, I had to be led down this road by my wife. And
Oh, I was thinking about that. Did you see the commercials where they were definitely Democratic paid productions, but it was the girl telling the guy that if you don't go vote, then you're not gonna get any of this, right? So then she's all trying to woo him to the
well,
polls.
I'm going to go vote. No, I live in Illinois. I live in Illinois. It's a blue state, and so I live in northern Illinois. And since I live in northern Illinois, sometimes we might catch a video and a campaign video from Indiana that's kind of usually going to go Republican. But the thing is this, I don't get to see those good videos. We don't get to see it because they already know we're going to go blue.
Oh, so they don't even spend the money on the
No,
programming or advertising on you guys.
no,
Oh,
they don't. They don't. And I be unless you go to certain suburbs, you wouldn't even know. But once you get outside Chicago, once you get down to southern Illinois, when I went to Urbana when I was going to school, the first thing a white person said to me was "nigga," and they drove past in the car. I'm serious. I'm serious.
you told me about the drive-by nigga. That is,
Yeah. And,
we just want you to know that we know that you're here.
oh
But you
yeah,
were the only black at that school. You couldn't have been the only black at that school.
I wasn't only black, but that's what they did. And then I used to live in Illinois residence hall when I was a freshman, and it was a co-ed dorm, because most of the dorms were either female or male when I got down to Illinois. But we was in Illinois, so we had a co-ed dorm, and that wasn't. They shouldn't have never had that happen. But it was weird. You see some of the girls would push their beds together, so they had joined, the LGBT whatever it is back then.
Oh yeah.
And then so see some of the girls push their beds together. Then you see you had to always knock or you couldn't come to your room. It was just weird because I like I said, I had always thought that you had to talk to girls and you had to make girls feel that you cared about them. But they didn't care up there. Like I said, in the rec room, we had a rec room, and the rec room was where they had games and all that type of stuff. And then you go in there, white people be screwing on their blanket,
Jeez.
and you just say, "Wow," and you just say, "Well, that's one of those things." We had a big cornfield that separated Illinois from Townsend, and when I would walk over to Townsend, people were having sex in the field. That's why when they came out attacking Bill Cosby, I couldn't, I couldn't really get upset because that's the way it was. It was so much free. It was so much free sex back in the '60s, early '70s that I don't know. Uh, I'm just glad nobody came up to me and said, "Hey, you're my dad,"
That's right.
and you know, and it was weird. It was weird, and it was weird. My wife is well. I could, my wife. She can see me. She might be sitting here now, but I mean, she knows now the truth. Back then, I was, you know. But the thing is, this is that. But I just think back to that time. I said, damn, that was such a crazy time because how could I couldn't understand how somebody. I couldn't understand how this woman could let somebody have sex with them. And then when I used to go to those frat parties, women let somebody have sex, 2 or 3, go upstairs with different guys. What the hell is this? And I couldn't. I couldn't understand that. I couldn't understand that, and because I just, like I said, I thought it had to be some emotion involved in having sexual relations. I felt it has to be some emotion involved in that. But then it wasn't any emotion. And see, that's what I'm looking at today. I'm looking at these people with this election. These people, they have more emotion in this election than people back in the day when they were having sex with people they didn't know. And then I remember I was in one girl's room, and I just got up there and we wanted to go to a party. And she said she had to get dressed. And so she's taking off her clothes. And I said, damn, I ain't got time to wait for you. I didn't know then what I was supposed to do. I'm a I wasn't used to this. I wasn't used to this. That's not what they did in the community, I mean, you had to act like you cared about a girl. I thought you could have, intercourse with them.
Hmm.
And then, then so I guess I really must have seemed like a hick or something. And
Look at this nigga. He don't even know what to do with it.
that's right. All this.
All it is.
I didn't care, but I was also. I'll be honest with you though. I live in Chicago, so I grew up in Chicago. So South Side girls was always sophisticated. Always had nice hairstyles, and we always thought of West Side girls as being kind of country. And I met a lot of West Side girls I met. They was ready to have sex in no time. But I was afraid of them because I felt that they. I don't know. I just felt I was such the perfect catch.
They
Like
trying to trap you for sure. They said,
they wanted to trap me. Those West Side girls wanted to trap me. So when I got down to Illinois, I don't know. I guess maybe they would call me a square and stuff. You a square, and I didn't care. Because see, the thing is this: I had my own ideas. I knew what I wanted. Black power, baby. And so then, but I mean, hey, you know, some of the brothers they would talk that stuff. Yeah, we got the sisters, we got to get down. And then they be saying, shit, when's she gonna get that chicken fried? No, brothers, the sisters supposed to be helping us with the revolution. Yeah, Clyde, yeah. As long as they cook that damn chicken, we gonna get it going, baby.
Right. Oh man,
You
that's right.
know,
College was crazy times, and you had me thinking about the fact that Kamala, she went to a black school, right?
uh,
You didn't go to a black school for your undergrad, and I didn't either. So I find it's very interesting difference of coming into the world, and then she's this big champion and cape wearer for baby killing, right? And then Dr. Short's all, because it's a graveyard down there because maybe she's been ran through, and maybe it's because what you said back then, things were more loose with the requirements.
if you were a sorority girl or a sorority guy, I went to some of their parties, and so you're supposed to, to me, I felt that sorority girls were just girls that have sex with the sorority boys. I felt it was that's why I never wanted to join a fraternity, because I felt if you joined a fraternity, you didn't have any game. I had two things going for me. Number one, I was handsome, and on top of being handsome, I was strong too. So I had a physique, and I was handsome, and then I could spit them words. I knew how to spit the words and stuff, you know. And so then I felt I had game, and I felt that guys who joined a fraternity, they didn't have any game. I felt they didn't know how to really talk to girls, and then because they didn't know how to really talk to girls, I didn't say to have sex with girls. I said
Mhm.
talk to girls, communicate. And I felt that because they didn't really have that game, that's why they joined a fraternity, because a fraternity gave them access to their sister fraternity.
There
So
you go.
you know, so when I would go to their parties and I would watch these girls, in a sense, they'd be giving them drinks, And sometimes I'll be seeing them pour them in the plant, and then the next day, what happened? I what happened? You know, so and so took me upstairs. What happened? Oh, not even take a damn drink. And so then, so I just said to myself, this is weird. This is weird. And and so I said, so then when I was down there, a lot of them they probably thought I was going to marry one of them and stuff like that. Damn, as soon as my wife got 18, shit, we got married by that Friday. You know, hell, as soon as she turned 18, asked my mama to come on and sign, go down to the courthouse so she could sign the papers so I could get married. And hell, I married my wife. Clyde, why did you get married? I said, damn, y'all hoes. I don't want to be with you whores. I don't want to be with you whores. I mean, yeah, my wife might be lying to me, but at least I can hope it's not a lie. But I know I'm lying, you know. And sometimes I say maybe some of them cared about me. Maybe I was wrong. I'm just happy nobody ever came and said you're my dad. I'm so happy about that. And that because that would have been kind of that would have been quite traumatizing.
Oh,
And
for sure. Do you remember
no, I don't remember their names.
Sue?
I don't remember their names. No. I don't remember their names. Isn't that sad?
I mean, the memories, though. You remember? To me, our brains. I know we've talked about this a lot about the synapses that we make, and it's like a photo album to
Yeah.
me. You only have this many slots in your
I
photo
don't
album.
remember their names. I don't remember their names, and that's sad.
It's.
It's sad.
I'm not gonna sit here and say that you were only being a hoe when you went to. No, I'm just playing.
Ho 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 ho! It was like Santa Claus, and I knew I could be a man ho too. But the point is that these women they just was tossing it around, and it was just that and then they would get mad at you. They would get mad at you if you didn't conform, and you didn't want to be a square. And so then we had so it was people from Philly, East St. Louis. The East St. Louis people they used to like to eat pig noses. I found that strange. I used to like to have pig noses and eat them. I said, damn, but I guess they said we was eating pig feet and hog maws and
Yeah, there it is.
gut. Never ate no chillins that, but you couldn't talk back when I was growing up. You never got around a black woman that never said chitlins were no good. They, you,
I believe that that's fighting words.
yeah, you strung up and tied.
Oh, I could never. I
So
I
you
remember
would
my first time smelling chitlins, and it's like, what is
ugh.
that? And why? And they said, oh, that's chitlins. And okay, first of all, what? And then, what is chitlins? Oh, it's don't worry about all that. Just get you some. No, no, that's the great way for me to say no.
And you had to clean them. Then like neck bones. Then all the soul food by the mid-70s, soul food became a delicacy. You couldn't buy neck bones. I grew up on neck bones, and you couldn't buy neck bones. You couldn't buy oxtail. Oxtails was cheap as hell. Now to get you get 4 oxtails at Walmart. 4 oxtails at Walmart, they cost $16. 4 oxtails at Walmart. I said, damn. And I used to love oxtails.
And that's probably a bunch of gristle too, if you think about it.
Yeah. And and back in the day, my wife she could cook all that shit. I cannot cook oxtails and all. Why do you women know how to cook shit right? I don't know. I don't like it. It's so wonderful it's so nice to have a woman around the house. Have a woman around the house. Look like y'all made the food
Got it,
taste better. It is. It is. When the kids, my kids that, for instance, I say, your father, he's like a gourmet chef because he makes such good food. But I thought my wife cooked the best to me, because she could cook anything and stuff. She could make she can make, she can make stews real good and other things real good, and I can't do that, because my kids always say I don't cook enough, you know, and but then I think about this whole idea of where do we go from now, and I think about the fact is that the election has brought out how we don't have the money to really buy the foods we like and stuff like that, and it's very complicated. It's very complicated. You can't go to the store, you can't get the things you wish, and and then you know everybody's all excited about it now that the election's over. Well, hey, now what does it matter? Yeah, he got in there. They elected Trump because he was talking about economics, blah blah blah. No, that he got in there because the thing is this: they tried to kill him and they couldn't kill him, and people just felt he was Superman.
Hey.
Fight, 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 fight.
That's a heck of a point. The fact that he's got this cloak of protection, and then that might actually make somebody vote for you because you're seemingly unstoppable. That's very interesting because then I hadn't even thought about that. Um, I know for sure that he won because, well, Kamala and the Democrats said that they don't have to do anything for us, and then we said, okay, fine, you don't have to do anything for us, and so then we won't have to do anything for you. You made it very clear, and well, every election they say that it's our fault or because of us. So if it's our fault or because of us, then we can we can wear this with a
I
pride.
don't know. That's what I know. Tariq was saying. That's what they're going to say. I don't see him saying that. Talking about that they lost the election because black people didn't vote. I don't. I've been looking at a lot of YouTube and all that, and I haven't seen that. That
It's
there's
I haven't either, but I have seen um I've seen a lot of people acknowledging white women now.
right.
Before the vote, it was black people, you better get out there, and black people, if you don't, blah blah blah. But now they're saying, well, we knew that that was going to happen because white women voted for Trump last time. It's like,
But
okay,
but see, it's a whole different scenario. I'm in Illinois, and they're talking about the fact that white women let them down. And yes, they brought that up today. That white women let them down because why wasn't white women voting for Kamala's black? She says she's black, dummy. I don't understand I do not understand where these people are coming from. She said that she said she was going to be the first black and Asian. Why should white women want to vote for her? I don't. I could not understand that for the life of me.
she might have won the white woman vote if she had said that she doesn't see color, and that's why she's with her husband. And tried to just not answer the question at all because she did a lot of that prior to. She didn't answer any questions, not really. And then she got in front of some people who said, "No, you need to answer this question, Kamala. What is it?" And she said, "Well, I was raised in a middle class family, and my mom was a single mother, and she starts giving other answers to different other things. But I hmm, I think this. Where do we go from here? I hope people can pay attention to the fact that some of this stuff used to be private, and I feel like it is a self-inflicted wound. What do I mean? I mean more like feminism was a self-inflicted wound to women. We're saying that, or not we, but they were saying that we need all this attention and extras for us. But then a man can chop his penis off and say he's a woman, so well, what now? What you got now? So they say, oh no, he's a woman too. But now the feminists are saying we're being forgotten, and I'm like, well, weren't you the one saying that
Well,
this needs to happen? And
but see, that's what happened. See, about remember 2 years ago when the trans started saying they were better than women. How
Hmm.
can you be better than women when you got to keep a vibrator? If you don't keep vibrating it, it's closing up.
Yep.
It's a cavity.
Yep.
It's a cavity. If you don't keep a vibrator, just I think about these people. How can you have somebody? First of all, they cut off your penis. They create a cavity, and you have to keep using a vibrator to keep it open. And then I just say to myself, how can they? I mean, it's something your mind. Your mind had to be really. To me, your mind had to be really, really interesting. To me,
You said really interesting. I
yeah.
I remember learning about certain disorders, and body dysmorphia was one of these disorders. And the example that they always gave was that maybe you felt like you were a person who was only supposed to be born with one arm. So then you go to the doctor and you say, "Hey, doc, cut that one off because I'm only supposed to have this one." And the doctor's going to say, "Okay,
But
tell
they
me
would say you
about
were crazy back then.
that." Right. And then you're
Now
going to
you're
get
not
plugged in
crazy.
for a long time.
Now you're not crazy. And yet that there you are. You have to have this cavity that they had put between your legs, and then you had to get a vibrator to keep it open.
It's a
Uh,
defective piercing. I mean, it's crazy because,
It's like ear piercing, huh?
well, it's defective. It's a defective piercing because
Yeah.
my earring hole that I've had my whole life is never closed. I mean, I don't wear earrings all the time, but I don't have to worry about putting something in there to keep it open. But to me, it is definitely interesting thinking to know that you're going to have to do this forever for the rest of your life in order to maintain what you've got going on, or you're going to abscess and
But
die.
where did this come? I know transhumanism. I know that they want to take over. Birthing. I know they want to get rid of the woman, but how can it go that far? That now, in a sense, this whole idea of transhumanism. I I I I love the touch of a woman. I love, in a sense. I can remember. My wife been dead for 4 years, but I can still remember. I can still remember the time. I remember, in a sense. I don't think too much. Women, they always think about hugs and kisses. You guys always think about hugs and kisses, and kissing is very important. That's why you don't want a man that lost his teeth. He has nothing to support those lips. Oh, it's terrible. No, bring me a real man. Bring me a guy who has teeth. So then, but these are little things that used to be natural. It used to be natural. It used to be natural. I mean, I used to enjoy. I used to feel that as long as I could pick my wife up, that I was still in a sense whole.
Yeah.
When I got in my 60s and couldn't kind of, I couldn't. I must I must be old.
Oh no.
I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. But then, what I really think about is that I really, I really, I really hate that some people have never known true love. And I hate that some men and women have never had a true connection with their mate. It's bad though. It's bad. It's bad. It's negative in one sense. Because see, when you become truly as one, then therefore, in a sense, it doesn't feel so good because you say, "Damn, she don't know what the hell I'm feeling because she feels what I feel." So they don't really understand. I really wish somebody else outside would maybe feel the same thing because it's just not the same, even though it's important. But when you become as one, that's how it gets. So,
I
but the
get
thing is, this is that. But the thing is, this is that. I just I can't. I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand how somebody. I just love to be able to hold my woman and hold her and hug her, kiss her, and I just love that. I don't understand how some people can't can't do that. Don't really seek that. I'm not. And then what makes it so bad when you're young. When you're young, it's girls, you know, and it's
Mhm.
as a man. When you're young, it's girls or women or whatever. But then the older you get as a man, it becomes a job. I wish I would ask my wife, what's on y'all mind when y'all get old? I should have asked her that, but I didn't, you know. But again, in a sense, it seems as though, because you go through those changes, from girls to job as a man, girls to job. It's the job that becomes the most important in a sense. And even though you still want to have a girl, you want that job kind of gets a little higher because you feel that your manhood is in that job. You feel that by having that job, then that's what really defines you as a man. You know, and
Maybe your job gives you the ability to do the things, that would let other people know that you're doing the things that you need to do. Um, they
yeah,
say if you can't afford the children, don't have the children, right? So then you've got people who will wait until they've made a certain amount of money before they start trying to have children.
but the only problem with that is that by that time, maybe nobody will want you. You see what I'm saying?
I get that too. And I mean, I see that, just in these internet environments, people who might have waited too long to try to make that connection because
Yeah.
their career was more important,
Just
especially
like,
women. They're career focused or career minded. They want to have things before they
yeah.
give everything up.
I
Um,
mean, it's just like Dr. Short. Dr. Short, I know he recently had a heart attack. Then he said, I want to have a child now. Damn, you're in your 50s, man. You're in your 50s. And you want to have a child now. I mean, it's plenty of women who would probably give him that child if that's what he
right?
wanted.
I think so
Line
too.
up. I'm quite sure they would line up so they could have a Dr. Short baby and stuff. have, a, have a little kid coming out cussing you out. You know, you know,
A
you know,
little short baby says.
a little short baby quoting the Bible. Deuteronomy this, Matthew 5, 6, 7, 9. You're supposed to be Dr. Short. What motherfucker you did? Okay, now you okay. But Luke 6, 9, 10.
There you
Luke
go.
9, 10. Hi, Blue 5. Yeah. And so I heard that and I said to myself, damn, I really feel sad for him because, again, as I think I've told you before, Eve, that growing up in a family of 10, I just took for granted I would have children.
Hmm.
And I know that you love your children, you feel good, whatever, you and your mate, whatever. But the thing is, this is that it's kind of hard because see, as a man, you don't really want men don't really want children. I'm gonna be honest, we don't really want children, and the reason that we don't really want children is that children interfere with sex. You know,
Oh, for sure. Look, I thought you were gonna say because they're trying to break the bank all the time.
nah,
These minis eat all the time, all the time, and it's demoralizing to get the refrigerator nice and full, and then 2 days and there's no food, and it's not because there was no food. They ate it all. And
yeah,
so then it's like, that's kind of good. At least they're eating the food. We're not wasting any food. But damn, if there were no kids here, that would have lasted for like
that's
a week, maybe longer.
it may have, but the point is, this is that as a man, you don't look at that stuff because that's what your woman wants. But the baby interferes. The baby interferes. I remember. Back in the day, in a sense, especially if you want to breastfeed the baby, then the baby's in the bed with you, and you say, "Damn,
Hmm.
wait a minute, those are mine, those are mine." But then you say to yourself, "Damn, she, who, who?" Because see, on TV, on TV they say, that they'll have this woman come on and say, "A strong woman, a strong woman, the man comes first." A strong woman has to keep her man healthy and keep her man fed.
Hmm.
And that's what the woman does. That's what some of these brothers say. But in real life, the woman say, "Fuck you, nigga. My baby come first. My baby wants some milk later. You know, let's get romantic. Later for you. Uh, uh, Johnny Mary wants some milk. Well, that's mine. How did he get that? That's mine. I paid X amount of money when we got married to be able to have access to that. Now, how is that? What? Get that baby off my. Get that baby off of that. That's mine.
At least if you don't have twins, you got the other one. They just switch sides.
That's right. But see, you're one of those super women. You ain't had twins, so I can imagine. So I can imagine that's you got to have them both in each arm.
Yeah, no, I told myself, well, when I learned that we were having twins, that I would figure out how to do that, and I did. What'd you say?
How old are your twins?
They are 7.
Oh, 7. Okay.
Mhm.
Oh, that's a bad age. 7. They say are they boys or girls or men?
It's with boy-girl twins.
Okay, because they say as men we change every 7 years. I don't know. I've been trying to figure out is that true or not. I've been trying to think back over my life, and did I have major changes every 7 years?
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's what they
Take
say.
a note of that because our oldest boy, he would be in his second 7 years now.
Oh, he's 14.
And I have seen changes in him, but he's I felt like it was just growth, additions to tacking on to something that he might have already shown that he was going to be doing. Now it's just more of it.
But they say 7. Say every 7 years a man change. I remember when I first took ed psych, and when I was at university, and they were talking about well, by the time you're 21, the boys they'll have full agility with their hands, and they'll be able to have hand. And I said, I had to wait till I'm 21.
I'm saying, really?
Yeah, that's what the ed psych books used to say back in the day. And then but they were right. They were right. Because see, I found that by the 80s when they were trying to push boys to be as smart as girls, that's when you started seeing a lot of boys fail in their 3rd grade tests. You started seeing a lot of boys falling behind. You wouldn't see boys progressing anymore because people started thinking that boys could mature as fast as girls intellectually, and they wasn't, and so then that's why you start seeing boys start acting out around 10, 11, 12. By 12, they're gang banging, or they either gang banging, or they understand school, and that's because the fact is that we started teaching kids as if they were girls, because instead of looking at how boys and girls mature differently, we started thinking that they all mature at the same time. It's just like when I used to teach ed psych class, I used to teach how Native American, Mexican, white kids, and black kids all learn differently, and you had to teach them differently. And it was kind of interesting when I used to teach it back in the day. But again, we don't want to really understand this. I used to love when I was teaching at Governor State, even though mostly all my students were white. I taught at Governor State for what, about 10 and a half or 11 years. I taught at Governor State, and I think during that time I had what, I had maybe about over 11 years. I may have had about 30 black women over 11 years. 30 black women, maybe around 5 black men, because I used to teach the graduate level class. And so then think about in a sense, I would teach 3 classes a year. I would teach 3 classes a quarter. Yeah, I would teach 3 classes a quarter. So you figure that I had 60. So then you think I'm teaching all these kids, but I'm mainly teaching number white people, because I was teaching in the graduate program. and everybody had to take my class. When I was teaching research, everybody had to take my research class before they could write their master's thesis. So then, but it was kind of interesting. It was interesting. You know, I said, damn, I always want to teach black people, but I got all these damn white people that are teaching.
That's because Black people bought into the lie. It's there's a lot of lies that people have to come to terms with. Like, yeah, I was taught a lie. They have to accept it, and then we can move on from there. But the really big one about how we don't read or how we're illiterate, Black people don't like to read. If you want to hide something, put it in a book. That's a really big one because then people will say, not well, then some Black people will say, well, last time I read something was in school. It's like, really? The last time you read something for enjoyment or learning or anything was when you were forced to do it? That's interesting. And then they wonder why their lives aren't going further than where they are. It's because they're not taking any initiative, but they bought into the lie that we don't like that stuff. And then you find what they're interested in, you get them some books, some learning, some tools to expand, that little seed. And then you find that they want to learn all about it. They want all the books about it. We'll spend all the money on the books.
But like when I up until the '90s, they would say that Asians didn't, Japanese didn't have an imagination, and but then damn, they're making all this good anime, but it was mainly, you know, militaristic and all that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But now you find a lot of now you find some black kids that don't have an imagination because they don't read. Reading helps you to develop, you know, a sense of I'm going to say it, a sense of being. What do you mean by that? Because a lot of times when you're reading, when you read stuff, then you don't really add yourself to what you're reading, but it begins to be internalized. Just like my favorite book, and my whole life. This is weird, Eve. My whole life has been based on, in a sense, Call of the Wild.
Really?
Yes.
And you read that in grade school?
Right, I read it in grade school, but I always still think about that lone wolf, because I don't know if being a Sagittarius, I've always been kind of a loner kind of in a sense, I don't, I always, I didn't never like groups. I didn't never like groups and stuff.
That might be Sagittarius. My mom's a Sag, and she's very much everybody loves being around her, but she's a loner. She would very much rather be around the people she likes.
Don't hardly call. She'll talk when you call her, but
right, yeah.
Why don't you call me? Yeah. Uh-huh.
Right. No, she doesn't have anything to say, talk about, unless she does, and then then she'll call. But that's I think that's interesting. And you're right. People's imaginations do get stifled when they're not reading. My biggest issue with my students right now is if you can't spell, it's probably because you're not reading. Like, I know for a fact you're not reading because you're not spelling some of these words the right way. It's not just because we were at the beginning of you learning how to decode and spell, where there might be some leniency because you're just using what you think it is. But as you read and you're exposed to certain words and sound patterns and stuff, and I know English is hard for some people, but it's a growing pain, I think. All of these things that we talk about, they all build on something else that might help people have a better understanding of what it is that we're even doing or where we go from there. But from like a very small thing, before ballotpedia.com Dr. Winters, where would you go to get the information about your candidate or about the, like, was there a one-stop shop, or would you have had to
You would
do
have to read the
real research, right?
you have to read the newspaper. You had to read the newspaper. You know, you would look at some ads and stuff, but you had to mainly read the newspaper because see, the thing about being in Illinois is because of the fact Illinois is a blue state. A lot of times you would have to read newspapers. Every now and then we had a Republican governor, and we had a couple of good Republican governors, and I voted for certain Republican governors, and because I felt they were kind of cool. But the thing is, this is that on that here, because of the fact that I live in a blue state, then a lot of times we don't get the necessary understanding. But the thing about reading books is that I found over the years is that a lot of my students, as I kept teaching, because they weren't reading, they had no imagination. They couldn't really think outside the box. And I think that's one of the things that hurts a lot of us now, and that I think is holding a lot of us back. And that's why I think a lot of people got all discombobulated about Kamala Harris. Is she black? Is she white? We need Michael. Is she black? Is she white? And so then you got to vote for a sister.
You gotta vote for it. Did you wake up and thank a union member today?
And you got say that the right way now. Come on, I want to hear the right
You
way.
better thank a union member.
There you go. There you go. You got to get that intonation. You got to get there. So then, but I found in a sense is that what I used to love when I was teaching. Like I told you, I taught at Bennett and I taught at Shed, and so Bennett was the big house. That was where we had all the kids from the from the ghetto, and then we had then we had the pilot school where we had all the kids who had middle class parents. Their parents in a sense were working stuff like that, and and so then I taught it at Shed. It was Shed and Bennett, and Shed was we used to call it the little house on the prairie, because and at Shed, oh damn, I had so many dynamic students at Shed that we used to just kick ass. Then we had an honor society, and so we would go downstate and kick the white kids' ass. We would win. We would win. Yes, yes. And Mr. Zawacki, he was Zawacki, as you can tell, he was a Polish guy. And so then we would take the kids and we would put them in different. We had an honor society and we would take them downstate. We would have beautiful books, beautiful things, and it was really good. And it was I loved it. I loved to do that.
Dr. Winters, I just got this text message from a spam number. It said, tonight, come together with loved ones to grieve. Tomorrow, join thousands of others on a call with in-person actions this weekend. Learn more at somevoteact.org/post-election call. And first of all, I don't know why my number is on these lists. I have an idea though. And then second of all, they've got phone trees about the election results.
I got the same message.
You get the same message.
I think it's because I put Dr. Short. I think Dr. Short has a lot of this stuff come from people who know Dr. Short. Because he's in a lot of that stuff.
Mhm.
And but it's so very complicated because as I said, I was really surprised, and it's hard out there. It's hard in this man's world, and I as I said, I always knew I was going to have children. You brought up the fact that last week you brought up the fact that a woman wants a baby. That's why she gets pregnant. She wants a baby. She wants a baby.
Yep, that's my answer. I'm sticking to it.
That's right. But as a man, I say you want the baby, and I go along. I'm going to go along. That's how I felt with my wife because I felt that she used to say, "You're stopping people from going to work." I said, "You can go to work anytime you wish." You know, no, you're stopping me. I said, "No, you just want to be with your babies, your children." No, you're holding me back. Clyde, I know you're holding me back. I said, "I'm not." And so now, now in heaven, but I remember I was one day talking, and then my daughter said, "Yeah, now Mama know you love her." I said, "What?" She said, "Now Mama know you love her." I said, I held her every day. I kissed her every day. I told her every day, first thing in the morning, I love you. I want you. And then you're telling me that she didn't feel I loved her. I said, "Damn, what do you do? What do we do, Eve, to make y'all feel that you're loved? What do we do? What do we do?" I mean,
Bang your head against the wall and not bleed or spill your brains out. Like that's about it.
you know, and so then, but that it hurt me a little bit. It hurt me a little bit. But then I said they always said that you got to see somebody love you. You see, but then I felt if you're telling somebody you love them, and then you're trying to show them by being affectionate that you love them, they should know you love them. But then when she told me that, I said, "Damn, wait a minute, what is this? What is it? Why is it difficult?" But then I understood. Then
So
I
why did you say finally? What was it that you did that made your daughter say that?
oh, but I guess because for 2 years. After my wife died for 2 years, I was crying every day, and I only cried, and I had never cried before, but I cried 2 years straight. But my daughter said, I guess my daughter said that, I guess because I was missing my wife, but I always felt like that. But then I said, "Why would your mother think that?" "Well, she didn't think you loved her."
Mm.
I said, "Why? Why?" I hugged her, kissed her every day, told her I loved her. "Well, she didn't think so, but now she knows." I said, "Well," I almost said, "F y'all, F you women." I don't know what the hell is going on. And so then, but then I went back into history and I said that it's because of our history, and it's because of the fact, in a sense, is that the black woman can never feel love. You can never feel love, and because and then you say, "Dr. Winters, you're full of shit." I said, "No, you can never feel love because your grandma, mama, sometimes somebody always said that
I told you that nigga ain't shit.
that's right, and that they didn't love them, and because you always heard that uncle somebody didn't love auntie or mom or whatever, then you're always supposed to be suspicious of your man.
Right.
So then in the recesses of your mind, yeah, you smile and you act all giddy, and all that type of stuff. Not like Kamala Harris though, because
No,
Harris,
that laughing is kind of insane.
it's kind of threatening when she gets giddy. It's kind of like a witch. But anyway,
She didn't have a lot of laughs today. She did laugh, but it wasn't the same.
that's because you wasn't a union member.
Oh man,
And, and
that's
so then and so then so as a black woman, you always in the back of your mind, you're always wondering, does he really? I mean, auntie, mama, somebody, they said that Uncle Dad was full of shit. So does he really? And this is the whole thing you're always confronted with. And that's the thing about that's why white women, that's why they can be so free hearted, because see, they can always fall in love because they know that man is gonna whoop their ass and be mean to them anyway. So so I mean, so the thing is, but the thing is this though, is that they still will give in. Maybe this next one, Just like they'll say, I think I've said this before when I was teaching. I'd have these students, a lot of these white women, in my research class, because I was teaching for at least about the first 7 years, about the first 6 years, I was the only research teacher at Governor State, so everybody went through me,
right.
in education and psychology. And so then I would have these white women who always wanted to do research on single parenthood. until I reminded them that they were a single parent living with their boyfriend.
Right.
They're married now.
Married, but
They
not married
not
anymore.
now. They're with a boyfriend. And so then this is the thing that is always so complicated, is that we always see single moms. The whole damn this is slave society. The
Yeah.
whole Western Hemisphere is full of single moms, or moms who feel they're single because they don't really believe they man love them. You know,
Hmm.
and that's why we even had this invention of the Latina. And then I know they got this special out, and they're talking about PBS. I heard they got a special about the history of of Juan Crow, and so they're
Oh
supposed,
no.
they're supposed to have a Juan Crow because they supposed to went through Jim Crow. No, you didn't go through Jim Crow, but in
No.
a sense, but you did, but you are the result of a slave culture. That's why Latino women, black women, it's easy to become a single mom when you're a Latina or a black woman, because this is slave culture. The whole Western world is a slave culture. Now, white women, well, that's not part of their culture. But Latinos, black, that's part of their culture. That's why it's so complicated. But because the fact that a Latina is light skinned and they got good hair, then they can at least feel that they're semi-white, semi-white.
Hmm.
Then a sister, unless she's light skinned with good hair, she feels kind of a little bit inferior, a little bit prideful, but sometimes she doesn't really feel that in tune. And I think, and so that's one of the reasons why it's very hard for a sister to really fall in love, but they can but and that's why they talk about this so-called in love, be in love, whatever that shit is. I heard it sometime on. I look at too much YouTube, and but it's complicated. It's complicated, but I think that's the whole thing that we're trying to find. We're always trying to find a mean, and a mean between the black man and black woman, so that you can feel loved and you can feel appreciated. And see, that's a very hard thing. It's very hard, because you reach a point where sometimes you don't feel you're appreciated by your man or appreciated even by your children. But then the point is this: is that you say, "Aha, well, I guess that's the way it's supposed to be."
That's an interesting point. It almost sounds like the generational trauma. People trying to, well, they want to do better than what they had, but they also, if someone's already gone in that direction, do you go and try to pave a new way, or do you go the way that people have already gone? Um, it's safe. My ex-husband's mother, they, I remember a conversation she had with me, and she told me that I need to make sure I have my own bank account and make sure I have my own stuff. And this is my husband at the time's mom telling me to make sure that I had all of my stuff. Like, she wanted me to be good in the event that he does something stupid. And well, didn't work out with him. And stupid
So
thing.
she was right, huh?
She was right, and she was wrong. People shouldn't color how things are going to be for someone else, as much as if you want to share your experience with someone, to help them out. But we're a people who need to scrape our knees, and I don't mean that everybody has to do it the hard way, but as many times as I've heard a hard head makes a soft ass in my lifetime, it just seems like, and I don't just mean directed at me, I just mean in general, it seems like we're people who learn from our own experiences. And while somebody might be telling you something that could work, um, it's kind of like what you said about, you and your spouse or your partner. Y'all are the same after a certain amount of time. So you can't even hear
Sometimes.
somebody, they might be telling you the answer, but it's Charlie Brown talk because it's too close. And they step back a little bit and I was like, oh, that's what you were saying. Or maybe hear it from someone else and they're saying the exact same thing as that you've been hearing for 5, 10 years.
That's what you hate. That's what you hate when your wife will say somebody else will tell them something, and you'll say to yourself, "I told her that years ago,"
Mm-hmm.
and now she accepts it because it came from that person.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of hurtful.
Oh, it's got to be hurtful because then, especially if you're not going to be an "I told you so" type of person, to bite your tongue, especially, it's going to hurt.
The only man can do that is a man with a weak woman. And I didn't have a weak woman. So if I would have said that, it would have been thrown in my face until the day I died, whenever she got mad or upset. I would, a strong woman, she don't forget shit. And when she get mad, she'll go back, way back, way back, way back in the jungle.
She'll roll the Rolodex back.
Yeah, and it'll come up quick in her mind too, the argument. So that's why I never argue with. I learned early that in this. See, a woman is like this, fellas. Now listen to them. Tell you something. Any guys listen to this? It's not too many, I don't think. See, this is the whole point. Never argue with a woman because if she wants to argue with you, she's already thought of the answer. So whatever you say, she's already got a comeback because she already know what you're going to say. And so then the only way you win an argument talking to a woman is you don't say nothing. And then she'll say, "Why aren't you saying something?" And then after she gets through arguing to herself, then she'll say, "Okay." And then that's the only way you win. But if you keep trying to retort, if you keep trying to respond to things, you're going to lose because no woman asks a question unless she already knows the answer. And if she already knows the answer, that means she's got a follow up. So you lose anyway. But then sometimes
put it like that for sure.
But sometimes a smart man still argue with you just to make you feel good, so they could finish watching the football game. I like the Bears. My wife would sometimes want to argue when I was looking at the Bears. I'm with the Bears. I've been looking at the Bears since I was 10 years old, so please let me look at the Bears on Sunday. No. Pay attention to me. Oh, you turned your head away. Yeah, he was about to catch a pass. But I don't know. But it's a thing called love. Love is very, very interesting for Black men and women. It's very interesting because see, the thing is that we have to have in a sense, we have to be in love. We have to be in love but at the same time, in a sense, you have to want each other. And I think that's what I really feel, you see. I never said I wanted my wife. I always say I want her. I even want her now. Because see, I always felt if I would have said wanted, that means it's an end. It's an end.
Right.
See, if you want somebody, you want them. And if you want them, then it never can be a wanted. Because a wanted is past tense, whereas a want is continuous. And so you want to use the continuous verb, and so it's very interesting. But again, like I said, I'm crazy anyway. I'm crazy. And but the thing is that I'm so happy. I'm so happy because sometimes I wake up and I thank God, and I thank God because He allowed me to know love. And that's a wonderful thing to know love, Eve. It's wonderful to know love because it's sad. It's sad that some people will never know love, and never really feel love, And,
have we had that conversation yet? The growing up on love or growing up on survival?
We never had that conversation.
Well, I think that's if you've never experienced love, maybe it's because you didn't have the example, and then maybe you didn't have the example because it was about survival. We don't have time for such things because it's about we're not trying to die today.
Because my father was what is it when you're born in September? A Virgo. My father was a Virgo, and her father was a Virgo, and Virgos are whores, And so then, yes, they are. They can't help themselves. The women just throw themselves on at them. That's, so her
I'm
father was
supposed to
a
tell
control.
you this. I can't. I'm supposed to. The next time you said that, I was supposed to tell you. My boss, the the black man director of the school that I work at, is a
Is the
Virgo.
first one
He's not a whore.
not a whore that you know of because he's probably learned being around. He's probably learned being around women not to get caught, not to get caught.
Molly Moo, I tried. You see, I tried. I tried.
You know, you can tell him. You can tell him, and just tell him, yeah, Dr. Winter said you haven't been caught. And it's going to be a tiny smile because he'll know, damn, I can't smile too much because that Dr. Witness is right. That is so he'll just give a little smile.
Oh, that's rich. That's
It'll
good.
be a
Oh,
side.
that's real tear.
It won't be like this. It'll be like this. It'll be one of those emerging smiles.
That's funny. That's funny.
But I used to be back in the day. I said I'm not going to talk too many secrets and stuff because I got to say to brothers. The brothers got to have something. But it is very hard, because see that it did. When my daughter told me that, it hurt in a way. It hurt in a way. But then I said, well, that's just then. But then I looked at us from a historical perspective. Is that how can a black woman really ever feel she's loved when everybody around her has talked about that their man was an asshole, and so then how can she really say her man is different? And so then she has to protect herself. To protect herself, she always has to, in a sense, hold the idea that maybe it's just in my mind, but I'll go along with it as long as he goes along with it. But I'm watching that nigga. What did I say, nigga? Yes, I said nigga. I'm sorry.
Maybe she maybe she really took it to heart what these women had told her, and because she knows that it's still very competitive, that I'm not gonna tell you broads about my man who is perfect because y'all are gonna try to take him, and then
But
now
he,
you
but he's
have your little
only
secret.
but he's only perfect to you. See that that's the thing. That's the thing that I realize is that you're only perfect for him. See, somebody else might say, "Damn, she's a very plain looking woman. She's a very this and she's very that." But then to you, your man would say she's a very exciting one, very erotic, very sexy. You know. And the thing is, this is that I do wish she would wear a little bit more lipstick every now and then. But again, in the sense is that when she's ready, she's hot as hell. Anyway, but the thing is this: so then you always have these, but it's images. It's what's going on, and see that's the whole point is that you got to be able to be free, and that's where the problem comes in as a black woman or a black man, is that because as Nellie Fuller said, we are prisoners of war. And because we're prisoners of war, we have little control. I'm sad to say, we have little control over our relationships because most of the time we always got to go ask a white man for a job, you know, or a white woman for a job. And
Right.
so we're always going to have. So then that white man, he controls everything, or that white woman. So they control your life. That's why Neely Fuller said that you really don't. You're a prisoner of war, because you're a prisoner of war. It's very difficult. It's very difficult. You see, I mean, damn. You know, if you get a pension, you still will I get my pension? Will I get my pension? Will it come on such and such a day? You know, because the whole point is this: that you still always feel everything is shaky as a black person. You know,
It's it. I don't want to say it's epigenetic, but I think that maybe our immediate history, might be pulling some of those strings because of the synapses that are there, and then people that we trust, their experiences, and you don't have to do crack to know that you don't want to be a crackhead. Just talk to a crackhead, right? But then maybe you've never even talked to a crackhead before. I saw this story in the news the other day. It was some rapper who isn't a thug, but and grew up suburban life, had everything. And maybe he's the son of a rapper, something like this, but the boy wants to have street cred. So then you've got this person who's never gone through any of this stuff talking about these things. And then I think the whole article was talking about, I think it's the dad saying, I busted my ass to get out of all of that shit for him to talk about wanting to go back to that. Like, how is this romanticized in any form or fashion? But it's the revolution, and it wasn't televised. It moved to a realm where people could share information without vetting it. When I remember in high school, they told us that Wikipedia was never, ever, 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 ever going to be a source for any type of academia. And now you can source from Wikipedia, and that's so strange to me. To teach children about an encyclopedia, so this is our Wikipedia before Wikipedia. Here's a big old book, letter A.
Yeah, and but that's the weirdest thing to me too, is that I was taught that, but now you send the kids. That's the first place you send the kids, maybe but I don't know, because I used to always two things I could never get over, and that was one, dictionaries. I used to love keep dictionaries, because see, by the 80s they started saying, don't worry how kids spell. Let them spell the words the way they want to spell them, and that ruined a whole generation of people.
Sure did. I have any say in it, we'll have a generation of children who know how to use a dictionary, even if it's not on paper, because that's so strange. But if you're not supposed to be a thinker, and I've had this thought for years now, if society is not focused on the people to create because they're looking at other people to do it for us, or we're supposed to be this working class. And at the time when I had this thought, I was just thinking about Americans in general, not Black people, but just America is doing this to Americans, this bell schedule, this unnatural times of business, because, well, you can only be productive during these times, knowing good and damn well that people don't operate on the same clocks. Some people are super creative at night, and some people are super creative in the morning, and some people are a bear in the morning. You don't want that person in your team meeting at 8 o'clock in the morning, because they don't know how to act, but they'll wake up on time and get there because the job, paycheck, or whatever. And at the end of the day, a lot of it is some nasty ass women. Look, I have to call a spade a spade. These women fought for the right to be in these environments to work. And then they have the nastiest attitudes. Like, wait up, hold it, pause. Nobody told your ass to be here. You wanted to be here. And now you're all angry that you had to wake up and go to work.
But it's very complicated. The best principal you can have is a woman principal who has a man as an assistant principal. Because see, when a woman has a woman as an assistant principal, she always has to negotiate with that assistant principal what she wants to do. Whereas when a woman has a man as an assistant principal, she'll say, John, blah, 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 get this done. Boom. Whereas where she has a woman assistant principal, she'll say, Mary, do this. But Joan, couldn't we kind of add do this or maybe that? There's a discussion. Mm-hmm. So then those people rarely get things done. They rarely get things done because they're in a discussion, whereas the principal who's the woman with a man, her shit is done. Bam. It's done because she don't have to negotiate. They don't have to have a discussion. They don't have to arrive at a conclusion.
That's gold, because I've never worked for a woman principal with a man vice principal, but I have had a man principal with women vice principal, and the amount of talking he had to do to get things done because everybody wants to know why and why you didn't do it this way and what about this and that man must have gained about 50 pounds being the principal, just
But but
sitting, eating, and trying to hide.
but I used to always work with, somebody once said, Clyde, how do you get along with women? I said, because I let them do what they want to do. I'm not arguing. You know? And and that's just it. But some people, they spend too much time, you know. And only I don't know. The only principle I didn't like is principles were AKAs. Because I found that AKA principles, girls who were alpha, like Kamala. I always found AKA women as being very Europeanized, very white minded. They're very white minded. They believe whatever they've read. That's what I found with those girls, AKAs. And a lot of them get to be principals because they help other AKAs get the jobs. But to me, I found that they're not good for black children.
Yeah, I
I
the
shouldn't say that, but
well,
I'll take a Delta Sigma, anybody but AKA.
if that's the if that's what you've seen, you can't knock what somebody's experienced, as much as
But how can
you,
I unsee it? Help me.
you can unsee it by, well, honestly, I think when you shine a light on these problems, it gives them the opportunity to stand on it or to fix it without saying, I did it because you told me to fix it. Sometimes people start fixing things because they hear that it's a problem, and because nobody said, hey, you need to fix this specifically, they'll say, oh, okay, I got time to fix it because nobody's told me to fix it, and then I can act like I was always doing this the whole time. um, it's so crazy that we would have had a woman principal and man vice principal if people had voted for Kamala to be in charge. But um, no, that's not what happened, and I'm so happy.
Kamala, Kamala, look, but see, Kamala, if you look at her career with Willie Brown and the rest of those people, she wouldn't. A lot of people felt that she wouldn't have been a bad president. I believe I wouldn't have voted for her because she said she's not going to do nothing with black people.
Right.
I don't think she would have been a bad president because she seems like the type of woman that she would have been. It would have been a lot of consultation. Man, not got shit done because she would have always been talking about it. But I think that she would have she would have did something from a consulting perspective. So I think she would have been. I think she would have been an okay president. But she had said she wasn't going to do nothing for black folk, and that was it for me. But
Absolutely. And then turns around and does things specifically for other groups. You
yeah,
know, Joe on his way out the door, they just signed some executive actions for the Spanish speaking people here. And and it's so strange that they can out one side of their neck say one thing and then like it's not the same neck. Um, I want to say my parents told me that you don't let your right hand know what your left hand is doing,
right.
and that was always strange to me because it's like it's the same body. How how can you operate like that unless you are trying to do something sneaky?
You're bipolar.
Yeah, that's what you'd have to be because it's. Have you ever played chess against yourself?
No.
Makes you feel bipolar because how are you trying to win on both sides? Like you would have to always have a draw if you weren't bipolar. Or no, I'm sorry. If you weren't bipolar, you'd have to pick a side, and then that would be the side that you played offensively, to try to win. But
Well,
it's a strategy that you can use, to help learn about things.
well, my my principal, you know, we worked good together because she would she would want me to think of stuff, and she would go along with it, through consultation. So we had a very beautiful relationship. Our school was kicking ass. She was the highest paid principal in the district and stuff. Because she would listen to me, and I would give her ideas on how to make the school even better. And so then when she died, a lot of people, they came and they destroyed our school. They destroyed it because they didn't want to listen to me. But anyway,
I felt the same way about my school, but then it's
we
not my
weren't on
school.
probation. We weren't on probation. We weren't on probation. You know how they are talking about the black schools on probation. We weren't on
Mhm.
probation. Our kids had super good test scores. We mastered it. But see, she would listen to me, and I would say, okay, I would say, it's what we had to do now is that, it's time. Miss Ellis, I said, it's January. Now we're going to start getting the kids ready for testing. So let's get the books out, and everybody's going to at least spend 2 days a week preparing the kids for a test. As I said, a test is unnatural. You got to remember, a test is unnatural. Since the test is unnatural, you had to prepare the kids for the test. So she said, okay, Dr. Winters, we'd go ahead and do it. So then our kids would get good test scores. So we weren't on probation, you know. And then when she died, we had these other principals come in, and do you know those witches? They threw all the practice test books away. When I would say it's time to start getting the kids ready to take the test, Dr. Winters, thank you. Will you get over there and get out? Just go somewhere. Just go. And then after a while, our school was on probation, and it was just like any other school after a while. But she died in 2010, and I said, "Damn, hey!" I was thinking the other day. I said, I was able to last 6 years after she died, so I could retire at 66. I wanted to retire at 70, but they wouldn't let me. I couldn't go that long, and so I went 6 years after she died, and then our school was on probation and all that type of stuff, you know. But anyway, they were mad because I was making more than the principal. So.
Yeah, that'll definitely kill the mood when you're not making as much as the people that work under you. But the
Yeah.
school system's rigged that way. All of these systems are rigged. And if you don't know somebody to
Well, if you
tell
don't
you
want
the ins and outs, then
the teaching thing, this is what we did. Is that our school was close to Chicago State University, and so our school was close to Chicago State University. So a lot of times they would want to send their student teachers to our school. And so when they would get, so if you had a student teacher, you would get, back then they would give you a certificate so you could take your class. So
mhm.
then after a while, everybody there had a master's degree because because if I would get a student teacher, then I would get my certificate to and one of the other teachers, so they
Mhm.
could get that, they could go to Chicago State, get their masters. And so after a while, everybody had master's degrees, and then even a couple of us, by the time I retired, a couple of us even had PhDs. But but the thing is this though, is that that was what was good about education. The more being in the education field, the more education you got, the more hours, then the more money you made.
Right.
And so then you a bit. But what I found during that period, after my principal died, is that AKAs, they're very whitish, they're very white-minded, very whitish, Eurocentric. Their AKAs are very Eurocentric. Maybe because most of them light skinned. I don't know. Maybe not. But it may be. Deltas, you could be light skinned, dark skinned, whatever. Sigmas, let's be. Oh, I'm sorry. Sigmas. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. Please forgive me. But but uh, but AKAs, you had to have a bag test, I guess, to join them. I saw a couple of dark AKAs, but most of y'all of them were light skinned, and stuff like that. And they help each other though. They run those
They
schools.
do. It's every time Kamala had an event, you would see the pink and greens and the pearl people, and they're all out in the dozens. And I think I thought that was a symbol that they wanted out there. The sisterhood's not dead. The sisterhood, the sisters got the sisters. And then, well, when she didn't show up yesterday to to take her concession speech, I felt like maybe this was a foreshadowing of what a Kamala presidency would have been. Because, like you said, you don't think she would have been a bad president. Essentially, none of the presidents have done anything for us ever. I mean, as much as they might have targeted us specifically for some bad stuff, but the tangibles, benefits, resources, none of them have done anything for us. So Kamala would have been more of the same in that aspect. But
The only
the
thing
unnatural things, I think that's really where they lost it, is how much unnatural things that they were pushing.
that's because she had no identity. She had no identity. She didn't have any identity. I'm gonna go. So she didn't have any identity as a female. She had an identity as an old haggard woman, because the thing is this is that when you've been ran through by the whole world, by the time you get old, you ran through. You're not used to really. You're not really know how to do things on your own. You knew how to get things because you had sex with people. Then they put you into that position, and then they would always cover for you. And that's what people started seeing when she would get into a debate, and then she couldn't really move forward from the debate. She didn't if she didn't have a teleprompter, or she didn't have or like Cardi B have a telephone with the speaker on.
Man, that was at least she didn't lie about it. She said, "No, I need my phone." I honesty can win the world over, but also people get afraid when things are too honest. And with Kamala, she said that she was this woman of color, different thing, different breed, but everybody knew it was
But
more.
did she say? But did she really say that? She didn't really say that.
No, I feel like under duress, somebody posted on my timeline, because I asked for evidence. I said, I've never heard her say she was a black woman. And they said, well, here you go. Okay, there's one time that I've seen her refer to herself as a black woman, and it was that her mom raised her and her sister to be strong black women. Okay, fine. Inside of that, you didn't pick a black man, and you've got this single mom thing going on. Your mom raised you to be a single mom.
But but that wasn't it. By her being a big hoe, she probably had chlamydia, and she could never get pregnant. Because come on now, when you have a lot of abortions and you keep having all these different men having sex with you, you get chlamydia around that uterus, and you're not getting pregnant. And so then she was just the average ran through hoe. Is that she got old, she couldn't have any children because the vaginas wore out, the uterus got chlamydia around it, so she couldn't get, who knows, she may have had a lot of abortions, or maybe had a tube tied because she didn't want to innocence. We'll never know what it was, but we know this is that her sister married a brother. Remember, her sister was married to a brother. They had a nice little family, but it's the choices we make. You understand, Eve? It's the choices we make. And I was lucky that I met my wife when I was a teenager, and we saw eye to eye. She wanted to be black power. I was black power. She wanted to die in the revolution. I was ready to die in the revolution, even though neither one of us died in the revolution. I was telling my son the other day, I said, damn. I said, I used to tell the rest of the kids to look up to you, and you could be their leader. He said, I can still be their leader. I said, you're in your 50s now, man. You can't be running and leading nobody in no war. Well, yes, I could. I said, but this little short, he's short. I said, you're a little short ass. You just used to always beating up big tall people. That's your problem.
That's the leader you want. The leader, not a leader. Leader, not a leader.
Yeah, he's the leader. But my baby, my oldest son, he's a trip. You know, and but his wife is really good. She can, she can do plumbing. She can do anything. She's a very smart woman. She she put in my sink and stuff. So I mean, hey, she's good. She's very good.
Hey, go
Yeah.
girl. No, I think that's
And pretty too. And pretty too.
there you go. That sounds like a winner, chicken dinner.
She was. I don't want my. No. Anyway, I'll be quiet. But I don't want my other daughter-in-law to get jealous. But when she was younger, she was very, very beautiful woman. Very beautiful. My son knew how to pick him. He wanted to be like his daddy. Yeah, she's a very good woman, very good girl.
See, that just proves to me more of what we've been saying. Black people, black men, there is no misogyny here. And you've got these feminists that have convinced the world that women are under attack and that the black woman is even the most under attack. And I'm not saying we're not under attack. I'm just saying that I think we're both under attack. And then, if you can link up with a like mind that you can lay with too, let's move.
It's hard. You got to put yourself into that woman's place. That woman, in a sense, she's pretty. She's pretty in a sense, and she feels that she's supposed to have sex with everybody who has game, and then if she's a member of a sorority, she's gonna feel she should just have sex with the brothers because that's part of being in the sorority. And so you got this sexual thing that's related to being in a sorority. And so then I used to call them just the fraternity hoes. That's what I used to think when I was in college. I'm sorry, please.
I don't know that you're wrong. One day we'll talk about Greek life as according to Just Eve, but I don't think you're wrong. I think it's a lot of sex that happens in these places and organizations in the same way that there's a lot of sex in the church. But then I just blew my own mind because
and the political field. Remember how Kamala got up with what's his name, Brown or something?
Willie Brown.
Yeah, Willie Brown.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, this is that, but see that creates an empty woman, in the sense that when you get to be an executive, and you made it by just screwing, you don't really know how to direct people.
Well, see, this is the feminist argument we're entering in, because they said, well, if a man can fucking do all these things, then we should be able to fucking do all these things. And it's like, okay, people think that men and women are equal. That's one of those other lies that people are going to have to unlearn. Men and women are not equal. While there can be equity, there is zero equality. And then, I mean, that might need to be beat into some people, into their consciousness, because they can.
Okay, a man can have sex with several women, but if a woman have sex with about 5 or 6 men, those different gonorrheas, those different sperms, they're going to eventually turn into gonorrhea, syphilis, or something.
Yeah. Or just more simpler, a man can go lay some seed in multiple different places in the matter of hours. If a woman did that, and I did, there's this chick on my TikTok that kind of popped up because she was going viral for how many guys?
White girl, 100.
A white girl, yeah.
She did 100 guys.
And then she had her dad talking in the background about how proud he was of her, and this is the life you've chosen, honey, and we're
he was proud of. He probably used to have. Maybe he had sex.
I thought the same thing. I said, wait a minute, they're just.
Did they come from Maryland? Maryland, Kentucky. You find a lot of incest in Maryland, Kentucky, West Virginia. A lot of incest. Mm-hmm. A little bit. Eastern North Carolina, a little bit in East Carolina, but West Virginia, Kentucky, all Appalachia, you know, and but I don't know.
um, I think that it's I had this conversation earlier today about how the unnatural sex aspect, and how everybody was talking about how she's going to support sex change for prisoners who aren't supposed to be here and all these different things. And I just keep thinking about, if you were in a position of power now, or if I were where she was, the only move would be to do something now and then float it for later. Like, if you like this, you should vote for me because it's going to be more of this later. I mean, drop the cost of bread for 2 months before the election or something. You see how I got the cost of bread down?
Yeah.
Vote for me. I'm going to do that, in January. And then she probably would have won. But then,
Oh, and he could have did it too. All they had to do is sign an executive order, and he could have done that. But the thing is, this is that they don't want to upset the status quo. And the thing is, this is that I mean, how many people want to have sex changes? That's such a stupid thing to really make a criterion,
mhm,
because I mean, there's not that many people that's going to be want to have that, but there's transhumanism. Everything is to get rid of you,
yeah.
and get rid of the woman. They want to get rid of the female, and this is a crazy society. They want to get rid of the female. I love the female. I love the touch of a woman. I love, in a sense, to hold a woman. That's how it used to be. Now, in a sense, I can't do it. But I mean, hey, back in the day, then my son would say, yes, you could. But I said, hell, I don't want. I would be mean to somebody because I'd expect them to be like my wife. And since they can never be my wife, all I could do is just I could hurt them. But then they said, but hey, if they go with you, they could have a house, they could have part of your pension, they could do this, they could do that. I said, yes, a lot of things they could get out of it. What
What
do
are
I
you going to get out of it? Right.
you know, they're old. This is an old lady. What do I get out of it? Nothing. I get nothing out of it. Get nothing. You know. But see, the whole point is this is that. But see, that's not fair. But I think that that's the whole beauty of it. Is what do you want? Is what do you need? And the thing is, this is that is how do you feel? And that's the thing that hurts a lot. Is how do you feel? How do you feel? Do you want your partner? Do your partner want you? You see, can you? How do you do it? What about your children? What makes them important? And I know, like you said, one of your babies always got to rub his tummy. And I mean, you know, and so he probably makes you feel good because he makes you feel wanted because he knows that you're going to satisfy that tummy. So
Oh,
when you
he does. If anybody is gonna lay it on thick, it's him. Last night he comes downstairs and he says, it smells so good. And with all the draws, it smells so good, mommy. What's for dinner? Or I have another boy, Minnie. It's the boys. The boys are they're always thinking about food. But one of them will wake up first thing in the morning. What's for dinner? I mean, bypass breakfast, lunch, snacks, and everything, and straight to dinner. And then if he can have some input, he'll have his input.
well,
But
that's good. He's a smart young man because remember, dinner is much more intricate. Dinner usually has three things. You're gonna have a vegetable, you're gonna have a main dish, and you may have a meat or something.
mhm.
You got to do that. But then for breakfast, go down and get a bagel. You get a bagel and get a couple of pieces of bacon, put them in the microwave and stuff. I don't like that. Boil an egg. Boil an egg
Yep.
on Friday. I want, in a sense, I want eggs. I want fried eggs with cheddar cheese and 4 cheeses, mommy.
I want an omelet with peppers. Yeah. Now, in Kamala's economy, that's about $20 a head. If you buy it organically, and you want to be careful with the environment. Did you think it was strange that Kamala and et al. Tried to say that Donald Trump was the guy for the billionaires and he's going to cut all these billionaires' taxes, but then all the celebrities that came out endorsing Kamala, like those are the people that we would think had the money, right? Like Oprah and John Legend and Beyonce,
Never
which
see, but they felt, it was like I had to agree with Tariq when he said it was about nothing. They felt that we don't want anything, and that they could get celebrities to offer us something, and because in a sense we were voyeurs. And no, the point is this: is that we always felt that. I think that we voted because we always felt that if we voted, then we were going to maybe, in a sense, keep from being harmed, maybe, or we were trying to think about who would harm us the less. That's why the lesser of two evils.
the lesser of two evils, right?
Yeah.
Who's gonna harm you the least? I When I first heard that lesser of two evils argument, I think it was from Tariq, and it made me think about the R word. And as a woman, it's it's not something I think about all the time, but it is something that I've had to think about in different environments around different people. Am I going to be safe? Is this, an environment where I can maneuver, get away, or whatever? And if I were ever got and the kidnapper said, "Okay, do you want it this way or do you want it this way?" I think I'd say I don't want it anyway. Like, can you just take me back home and we can just act like this never happened? But you're never going to get that option. And since we're never really going to get the option, it seems it seems more fruitful for us to do something else. When you've been forced into a decision by people telling you that you don't have a decision, like this is your decision. It's I don't know, are we children? No, we're not children. We pay taxes. We drive on the street, follow traffic law, and we can take ourselves to movies. So why have we why have we dumbed ourselves down so much? But I think that it's because maybe we've taken for granted some of the struggle. A lot of people woke up to the fact that things aren't as good as it's publicized when we had the experiments of 2020. And then everybody said, well, how are these niggas able to get by when they've never had any money? And then we're just doing things we've always been doing, keeping to ourselves or maintaining, holding and maintaining. Other people have been
So many people,
careless. Go ahead.
so many people, so many people after when we were left at home. So many black people I know had gobs of money, gobs of money. They didn't know what to do with it, and that's why we spent so much after the pandemic was over. But I think the thing is that it's 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 living for survival or living for fun. And see, that's the whole point. Is that most we for some reason we have a majora. You know, we had that mojo aura to be able to think of how to survive and the youth and to survive if we have to. But we also know how to live. And that's the thing, in a sense, that so many people are afraid of, is that they don't want us to live. Because see, when you can live, when you can do your thing, when you and your partner can go and have some good fun, when you and your partner can go to Vegas or go take a trip somewhere and feel the kids are in good hands, it's cool, it's cool, it's even cool sometimes when you can take them too, and maybe well, y'all just stay down here by the games, or the oldest when you watch, y'all stay in the room, and then I'll take y'all somewhere tomorrow, but me and your dad, and we're gonna go do this and go do that. But the thing is, this is that it's you know it's trying to find those things. And I think that's the thing about this election that I found that was really good, in the sense is that the election forced us to really think about what do we want, what are we doing this for, and we also felt that I don't have to vote for you. I don't have to vote for the lesser of two evils. And that's a powerful statement because see white people don't feel they have control over us unless we're voting. Because when we vote, that means that we're still part of the system.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
why they were so upset about us not voting. You see,
Hmm.
whereas when you can choose the couch, that's a very powerful thing. And I learned this years ago when it was so hard for me to not vote. But then because see, why vote for nothing? See, you know. But at the same time, it's like eating but not getting what you want. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, that's the perfect example. That is the perfect example because I talk about this all the time. Just because you can eat it and it doesn't kill you today does not mean you should be eating it. But it also doesn't mean I'm going to tell you not to eat it. So, there's levels. Yes, it's not going to kill you. It's not poisonous. It's not food. Like it is a plant. It is food in some form or fashion, but some food is medicine, like cranberries. You shouldn't overindulge in cranberries. That's a medicinal food. If you need some type of filtering happening, you're gonna hit the cranberries.
What do you
Free
think
of course.
about what do you think about pomegranates?
I I I think that they're well, it's an interesting fruit, very very bitter, but supposed to have all the antioxidants. Lots of um,
My sis-
whatever makes it super red. That's supposed to be good for you. Can't think of what that word is. Capsium, is that what it's called?
yeah, my sister used to like those things, and I used to say, I mean, it was like certain things like grapes, strawberries. Everything used to have a certain time. Now you can get grapes year round, strawberries
Hmm.
year round. I don't know if it's good or bad. But again, in the sense is that I don't know if we really pointed out to where do we go from here. Where do we go from here is trying to love ourselves, trying to get reparations, and 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 keeping our eyes on the prize. And what's the prize? The prize is love of myself. The more things that I can do that make me love me and love my family, that's the prize. That's where we had to go from here, is trying to do as many things as possible for us to be able to share the love that we have with our families. That's what I believe.
I like that. Um, and I mean, I think we've touched on it because, to us, these people who wanted our vote, they didn't really want us. It's all just, shoots and ladders. But I like where you said where we're going is this self love aspect because that's the end of the race. I don't know if people really get that. That race was an invention of separation and exclusion because you don't fit the bill, so you can't come around here. Um, when people start loving themselves authentically and stop trying to modify themselves to get the love, then you will find that the separation between the skin colors that'll go away really quickly, and then we'll have something else to be separate about. I eat fish and you eat chicken. We can fight about that or something else because it's never going to be unified thought across the board. We're not a monolith. People aren't monoliths. But I think that if this election was anything of an example, I hope that it was the example that you're autonomous. You didn't just do something because somebody told you to do it. And then if you did, there's always next time. But if you didn't, that you knew why. And it's because your ancestors didn't die for you to vote. They died so that you could say no, and then nobody would murder you for it.
But I think another thing from this election is is that it finally illuminated the fact that you have to delineate. You have to
Yes.
delineate.
Yes.
And number two, it finally helped a lot of black people to move away from that. Because somebody is black, you need to support her.
Yeah.
And I think that was what it was all about in terms of white folks trying to get us to vote for Kamala. And in a sense, that was why it was the collard greens in the bathtub.
Mhm.
Are you really black enough, or are you Asian and black? Yeah, we knew she was black. We knew she was a black person. We knew that she was an Asian black person, but she was not African American or foundational Black American.
Right.
And this is the thing. I mean, a couple of times I heard on NPR, I like NPR, and I heard on NPR, Kamala, she's an African American. And why do you? They even said that at one of the news breaks. Just, I guess, to try to get some people to go out and vote for her. And I think that's the beauty of this election. And that's what I think. That's what I think in a sense. If there's anything that we learn from this election, is that delineation is good. Delineation is good, and you have to be honest with yourself. And I think that's the thing that destroyed Kamala Harris. And I think that's what really, in a sense, gave her campaign, made her eventually lose. She was going to lose anyway, I felt. But she came across as phony, and she came across as somebody trying to cosplay different people. And I think that's what hurt her, is that phoniness.
Definitely.
And I think that we had to go for it. But again, this is another night. Did you want to have the final word?
Well, don't trust white women, because the same white women that told you to get rid of your man went home to her husband, and that same white woman voted for Trump. So, just be careful.
I heard that. Have a good evening now. The only thing that can save you is be one, be one, be one. To fight